Today, we're talking about the latest drama surrounding Girl Defined and how the Christian sisters' new focus on selling courses has led to relationship rumors, a $30,000 fundraising goal, and dozens of unfortunate interactions with their Instagram bot. And I pulled together all of the details from their past year so you can get caught up on Girl Defined, whether you've heard about them before or not. But first, hi, I'm Austin. I make videos staying caught up on the latest internet drama and news, so if that sounds like your thing, feel free to stick around. This video is the last one I'm making in 2023, so if you're watching this in 2024, Happy New Year. The past few months this channel has just been growing like crazy, and if you've decided to stick around and enjoy the content, I really can't tell you how much I appreciate it. This next year, we're going to sprint for that 100k sub goal, and I'm going to continue to look for more ways to improve the videos. But regardless of whether or not you sub, thank you for watching. Now, let's just jump into it. We need to begin with a little context on who Girl Defined is, and how they've generally been acting over the past year. Girl Defined is a Christian lifestyle YouTube channel and podcast, started by two sisters, Bethany Beal and Kristen Clark. The content generally involves talking about mainstream topics from a Christian evangelical perspective, with most of it relating to purity culture. The channel gained most of its mainstream attention back in March of 2018, when Cody Ko and Noel Miller uploaded the video, That's Cringe, Girl Defined Edition. Well, if you don't feel old yet, it's been 5.5 years since that video, and in that time, Girl Defined has gotten older, but their questionable opinions haven't seemed to change. Let's do a quick run through of the latest and greatest when it comes to Girl Defined's controversial opinions from the past year. As a disclaimer, they say some transphobic and misogynistic things. And on the religion side, I grew up as a Christian, going to church and youth group until I was 20 years old. I'm really not here to look down on anybody for their religion, and I still have many friends and family that practice Christianity. People are allowed to think and believe whatever the hell they want. Now, let's run through some of the worst Girl Defined takes in 2023. On January 25th, Girl Defined was caught fighting with someone in their Instagram comments, explaining that God wants intersex people to have surgery and live as either male or female, adding that the existence of intersex people doesn't justify perfectly healthy bodies becoming trans. On April 18th, Girl Defined posted on Instagram saying, "Gender is not a man-made theory that we can change." Meanwhile, in the caption, they write, "He created two. Not 3, not 4, not 10. Genders. Unchangeable, irreversible, beautiful genders." Genesis 1:27. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the Bible doesn't say all that. I don't know why they think the Bible's just some man-made theory that we can change. On May 31st, Girl Defined was spotted in their Instagram comments, arguing that we shouldn't focus on gun violence because abortion is actually the leading cause of death among innocent babies. What's an innocent baby? Doesn't that imply the existence of criminal babies? On September 21st, Bethany had a bit of a breakthrough and posted a series of stories where she realized just how toxic her modesty culture content was. I guess a step in the right direction, but you'll see in a second just how much their content has changed. On October 27th, Girl Defined has finally answered the question we've all been asking. Should you dump your boyfriend because he drinks beer? Yeah, I guess the content well is running a little dry, because the next day they also posted this podcast clip.
See all the booty pics on Instagram of like these perfectly sculpted six-pack bodies, and are you telling us that it's okay to have some cellulite?
Stress really can tear up a woman, and if you exercise too much or in the wrong time, you can take your hormones. You can get your shorty shorts on and take a six-pack ab that way. There's no woman that's supposed to have a six-pack. It's impossible. You're not a man. You end up stressing your body out so much because they tell you that you're supposed to look this way, and therefore you take your hormones and you wonder why. And these fitness experts call me and they go, "I can't have a child." Yeah, because you haven't menstruated for 7 years because you're trying to look a certain way.
What is this bald, no jawline having ass man talking about? There's no universe where he could even get a six-pack if he wanted to. On November 24th, Girl Defined posted this awful Photoshop job saying, "Welcome to Girl Defined. We're sisters on a mission to fight the lies of feminism and reclaim the truth of who God made us to be." Could they have taken a less scary photo of Bethany? It looks like her tongue is trying to escape her mouth. On November 30th, Bethany followed up by posting a video explaining why she's not a feminist.
"I am not a feminist, and here's why. There is a drastic difference between feminism and true biblical womanhood. And here is one of the core foundational differences between the two. Biblical womanhood is all about our Creator. Everything we do and everything about our lives is built on the foundation of Christ. of finding our identity completely and 100% in Him, of doing everything we do, whether we eat, drink, sleep, everything to the glory of God. Our lives are about knowing our Savior and living for Him, and all of our decision making is done through that lens. We are not the most important person in our lives, like God is, and we make the decisions we do based on that. Feminism truly is ultimately about like your truth, your beliefs, elevating yourself first and foremost. And as a Christian woman, I just can't get on board with that.
Oh, you want to be treated nicer? That's a little weird. But now we're all caught up on who Girl Defined is and how they've been acting recently. Now, let's talk about Bethany and Kristen's recent shift in content over the past year. And we'll take a look at how the community is reacting. The first part of this is Bethany's side hustle, She Works Smart, where she's helping women make a passive income at home, $100K in less than a year. DM me digital to learn how. Free guide to get started. Yeah, she's on her way to becoming the Andrew Tate of Christian moms.
Do you wish so desperately that you could be a stay-at-home mom, but still bring in a full-time income? That is the dream, right? Like that is the dream life while you are, with your kids, but you're also pouring into your family economy and you are pouring into the budget and getting to do all of the things that you love at the same time. Y'all, it is 2022. This is totally possible. One, you just need to recognize that this is possible for you. Women all over the world are doing this in incredible ways. So you need to recognize this is possible for me. Number two, I think the best way to scale the most quickly is by creating your own online course. And I want to show you how to do that. If you click the link in my bio and grab my free Niche It Down guide, that will help you start building your community, building your platform, building your business. It will also put you on the list to be the first to hear about my online course master training when it releases, so that you can start building the business of your dreams while being home with your babies at the same time. This is possible for you. You need to believe it. Save this video, and when you doubt, pull it up and say, okay, this is for me. I can do this.
Yeah, guys, it's so possible. If you just happen to have a YouTube channel that funds you selling courses. So this is the kind of content that Bethany's been selling outside of Girl Defined, and community members have started calling out her bad marketing attempts. Bethany made a post on January 28th saying, "I'm going to let one person into my online course master training for $399. I know this is a stupid low price, but I feel like someone could really be blessed by this. Tap the heart eyes if you want to be the one to get this special deal." With somebody on Reddit writing, "I know it's old news, but Bethany's getting increasingly desperate for money." One stay-at-home mom was not too happy about the misinformation that Girl Defined and other Christian couples push, and she posted on Reddit on February 23rd saying, "The living on one income stay-at-home mom lie. Dave and Bethany are a dual income, two parents working household. Just because you're shit at whatever you're selling doesn't make you a traditional Christian one income in the kitchen playing with the children all day stay-at-home mom. You're just a poorly paid, poorly performing sales rep. Bethany outsources her childcare. They're all completely full of shit, cosplaying Little House on the Prairie. I have nothing against stay-at-home moms. I've been one for the last decade. I've also used childcare while being a stay-at-home mom. Not to work, but to get in some me time. I don't care how women get through the difficult years of kids, work, keeping a sense of self. You do you. But these fundies talk out both sides of their mouth on this topic, and it pisses me off." Now, beyond the course being sold through She Works Smart, Girl Defined, and Bethany in particular, has been selling a few courses of their own, most of which have to do with sex. One of the courses, the Ultimate Sex Course for Christian Women, was promoted by Bethany on April 4th, when she publicly stated the names of women taking the course. Someone commented on Reddit saying, "If I signed up for a sex course, that would be something I would want to keep private." The next day, Bethany posted another promotion for the class, saying, "This 2-week intensive will blow up your view of sex in the best way possible. God created sex. God created pleasure. I think it's so beautiful to come together as women, to better learn how to experience pleasure." This was posted by somebody on Reddit saying, "I do not think you mean what you think you mean. LOL." At this point, Bethany started posting far more openly about her sex life, sharing things like this, saying, "Anyone else ever try to take a sexy selfie to send your husband, but your face just looks like you have gas or are a wounded cat? Similarly, she shared a video on her Instagram story explaining her realization of how toxic purity culture is, and of course promoting her Christian sex course at the end. This was called out by a user on Reddit who said, "Ma'am, let me ask you this question very slowly and calmly. Do you understand what you and your sisters have been peddling for the past 9 years? Let me ask you another question, but more loudly this time. Do you understand that your sudden personal zeal for sex doesn't undo the harm you've done?" A few months later, on June 15th, it seems like the new Christian sex course content was paying off, because Bethany leaned even harder into it, with a new bio that says, "I help Christian married women have passionate and desirable sex with their spouse. Sex course for women down below." Now she actually is the Andrew Tate of Christian women. But fans of Bethany weren't too happy with her constantly promoting courses over improving the girl-defined content. Love that you've been so successful, but what if you are as passionate about sharing the gospel as you are about promoting your course? Longtime follower here. I love seeing updates about your personal life and family and how God is working through those moments. But I see your content has shifted to exclusively topics about sex, singleness, girl-defined stuff, or business. I know the internet advice is to gather your niche, but I miss the good old days of Bethany sharing the beauty of simplicity of everyday life, and it seems like most of your social media content is about promoting your paid content or giving out freebies in order to sell your paid content. Normally, I shut up and keep my opinions to myself, but as a sister in Christ, I cannot keep quiet much longer. Your overly salesy tone can be a stumbling block to sisters who are striving to be a humble woman of God, living according to his feminine design. I pray that you understand where I'm coming from, not trying to attack you, but sharing in love. Regardless, Bethany continued to promote her courses in questionable ways, like in this Instagram video from September 19th, where she's just straight up making content about coming. We're only halfway through the story, and I've already heard way too much from Bethany, but she continued on her tirade, posting things like, "When other Christians get mad at me for being positive about oral sex," and another saying, "When you ask your husband what dish he's most looking forward to eating at Thanksgiving, it wasn't the turkey." With her Christian followers not too happy about how much Bethany was sharing. Oh, this made me uncomfortable. If you're not married, then I'm sure it did make you feel that way, because it's for married couples. I'm married, and this is TMI. I'm married and don't want to hear about other people's sex life. That's really gross. Keep it in check and honor your spouse. That is weird. Everything Bethany posts these days makes me so uncomfortable. I'm just not as chill about these things. I always imagine her family and random friends seeing it, and I just die. I've followed her for years. I always just scroll past really fast. I don't want to see it, and I'm married and everything. But Bethany, if you read this, I'm letting you know that I've chosen not to unsubscribe because I know you're helping people out there and doing what God's called you to do. I really liked her books and random podcasts about this, but to make her whole social media based around sexual things between her and her husband, I feel like it pushes a boundary. Also, I totally agree about what her family must think. One commenter had a back and forth with Bethany, saying, "Bethany, I love the mission of your page, but some of your recent posts are very TMI for the gram. I'm all about being sex positive for marriage, but I believe that there are things that should remain intimate between you and your husband. I think a major part of intimacy between a husband and wife is that it's just between the two of you, and not the rest of the whole world. And that is part of what makes it so special." Bethany replied, "Totally a fair perspective. I personally think humor helps ease the conversation a bit. I know many Christian women feel so uncomfortable talking about sex, and sometimes humor can make it feel less overwhelming to talk about." And someone else added in, "I just feel like keeping sexual content off of social media where many young kids could find this and wonder what it means is not okay. I love your books and podcasts, but usually a young kid won't be coming across them. But this, very uncomfortable for possible young viewers." Bethany tried to defend her content shift by saying, "Y'all, my account is geared toward married Christian women. I'm going to have some fun, spicy humor here and there. If it's not your humor, that's okay. Why, it's my account, not yours." I love that some of y'all get it and don't take it so seriously. A fan replied, "This is a joke my husband and I would totally make, but keep to ourselves. My sex life is awesome, but it's between us, and that makes it so much more special and intimate. There are ways to help women feel more comfortable in their sexual lives with their partners without putting your own, even joking, on display." My husband would be so embarrassed if I posted something like this because his desire for me is his and mine alone. This comes across as you desperately trying to prove that you guys got it going on, which isn't necessary. Bethany responded by saying, and that is such a valid perspective. I just happen to disagree, and my husband does not feel the same as your husband. Mine is pretty open with his comments and jokes. I personally think humor helps make these topics approachable for many Christian women. With the same fan replying, so you and your husband don't mind your parents, siblings, and church friends potentially thinking about what you're referring to, since you are bringing it up where they can see it? The noise that this whole discussion made online led to other criticisms being made. One specifically was laid out in a Reddit post on October 17th, where a user claims to have found evidence of plagiarism in Girl Defines Relationship Questions PDF. And when they compared a list of sample questions provided by Girl Defined to a list of questions from the Family Shepherd website, they found that many are just reworded. H-Bomber guy? Yeah, we got him. But back to Bethany, because regardless of how her fans felt, she continued to post even more uncomfortable things. He created the clitoris with one purpose: sexual pleasure. Religious married women are statistically known to have the best sex, with people in the community responding, no words. Following this, Bethany continued to work her side hustle over at She Works Smart, mostly by posting editing tutorials, as well as fighting the good fight of being a stay-at-home mom. There's an era of Christian women returning to being family-centered, business-savvy, Proverbs 31 women. It's not just the home or a 9-to-5. There's a better way. I'm proud to be the one to fight for this. She adds in the caption, way too many women think it's either being a stay-at-home mom and making no money or working a 9-to-5. It's possible to be a stay-at-home mom and bring in a full-time income. Curious how? I've created my own digital products and courses to make this happen. I've sold over 6 figures worth of digital products and courses this year alone. I'm not special. You can do this. Drop the word growth, and I'll send you the direct link to my best passive income resource. There's 0% chance she sold 6 figures worth of courses. She's just lying and claiming the girl-defined YouTube revenue is actually money she made from selling courses or digital products. And as of December 27th, Bethany is still promoting her Christian sex course in weird ways, with the 12 Days of Christmas Sexy Wife Edition, where in the caption, she shares a sponsorship for a Christian sex shop for married couples. Believe it or not, there's so much content related to Bethany's classes, I just don't have time to go through and take them all. Fortunately, another YouTuber, Rachel Oates, has already done that. I'll link their channel down below if you want to check out any of their multiple hours-long videos covering Bethany's courses and history. But now, we're going to move on from Girl Defined and Bethany's content, so we can talk about the rumors surrounding Bethany's relationship with her husband, David Beal, which have been all over the place since 2020, when they revealed that David previously attended gay conversion therapy twice. This was shared by them in a video that was soon deleted after. Since then, the couple has refrained from addressing the rumors publicly. They also have one child together, born in February of 2020. But let's jump forward to 2023 and talk about the oversharing surrounding their relationship, which started on January 11th, when Bethany posted a video on Instagram, which included her saying, "We first laid eyes on each other at a small country church. I was 22, and he was only 16 years old." With the caption, "Never say never. Anyone else married to a younger man and loving it? FBI, this one right here." Unfortunately, this younger man wasn't loving it, because around March 31st, he posted this video.
Just turned 29. I am a motion designer. I'm an amateur musician. I'm a husband. I'm a father. And about a year ago, I realized I didn't like my life and I didn't like myself. When I left home at the age of 20, all I wanted was to be liked, to be appreciated, to have attractive people think that I'm attractive. And so I spent about 9 years of my life chasing that. 3 years into my marriage, and I'm miserable. I blamed my wife. It wasn't her fault. I blamed my parents. Of course, it wasn't their fault. There was really only one answer. I had driven myself to deny my integrity and hide my flaws, because anything that threatened people's approval in my life had to go. I was choosing to be a coward, and deep down, I knew it. I was suppressing my life energy by adapting myself to what I thought other people wanted from me. I was emotionally manipulative and controlling in my marriage, and ultimately ineffective and undesirable.
And people from the community were quick to post receipts from Bethany on Reddit saying, "I humbly present Posts of Bethany's that have aged like milk after Dave revealing he has been miserable for years. That awkward moment when you have to face your conflict? Okay, total honesty. We just had a major conflict between us. We're two different people with unique opinions. It makes sense that we'd have a conflict. When it comes to conflict, we don't ignore it. We don't shove it under the rug. We don't raise our voices. We don't blame shift. We strive to treat the other with respect, love, and dignity. This conflict, we couldn't come to an agreement though. One of us had to basically decide to give up our way and honor the other who felt more strongly. That's what marriage is all about though. Love, sacrifice, respect, honor. How do you handle conflict in your own relationship? Well, I definitely don't post about it, saying, real shit show over here, guys. Am I right? But the bad posts keep going, with one that says, when your husband is ready to peacefully resolve conflict, but you still feel like being mad. And another saying, when your husband wakes up early with the baby and makes you coffee, and you get annoyed over something small when you wake up. And they just keep going. When it's time for bed, but you have unresolved conflict. When you're trying to watch a movie and cuddle with your man, but he smacks his lips while eating the popcorn. I am one of those people. Chewing makes me insane. Dav has been so patient with me. We literally had a convo about pet peeves while dating, and I told him this was one of them. He works really hard to not smack his lips while chewing, and I work really hard to have patience. I don't know why it bothers me so much. It's like nails on a chalkboard for me. Anyone else struggle with loud chewing noises? And as you'll continue to see, Bethany oversharing about her relationship is pretty typical. My biblical counseling saw me from pre-pregnancy to just before Audrey was born. One of the first things she said to me after finding out I was pregnant, "Oh my goodness, your boobs are way bigger. I bet Dav likes that." Oh, she's the best. So solid biblically, but not afraid to be a little spicy. Yeah, if your therapist ever says these things to you, they're probably a giant weirdo, so maybe don't keep seeing them. But moving forward, around June 25th, community members noticed Bethany's continued disdain for her husband when she posted this, POV, my brain during sexy time, with the caption, "We gotta stay focused, ladies. A distracted mind is the biggest intimacy killer." Yes, it takes effort and a choice to stay focused. No, you're not weird or bad or wrong if your wanders. That's extremely normal. Here's the deal though. Learning to be in the moment and fully present can help with so many issues during sex, particularly with orgasm. If you're ready to have great sex and really enjoy it, you're in the right place. We chat all about sex, intimacy, and orgasm inside of the ultimate sex course for Christian women. Honestly, as somebody with ADHD, it sounds like you have ADHD. That, or you really just don't like your husband. A belief that was supported by a July 31st Girl Defined podcast episode called Why Barbie is a Boring Feminist and Ken Steals the Show with Dave and Bethany. And we're just going to read the summary from user on the r/FundySnark Uncensored subreddit. The post is titled Girl Defined Podcast Recap. Barbie is a Boring Feminist, in which Dave and Bethany talk about the movie from apparently different planets. The podcast begins with Dave singing the I'm Just Ken song with gusto. Bethany falls all over herself, making disclaimers about how she didn't care about going to see it at all. But everybody was talking about it, so she felt like she had to go, okay? Dave says the tone of the movie is satirical and ironic, which he actually enjoyed. He uses the word delightful. He got the concept of Weird Barbie and says Kate McKinnon was probably his favorite part of the film. Bethany interjects and nudges him to get to the point, because apparently he's sounding like he appreciated things about it. We're 7 minutes in, and he hasn't even mentioned Ken or the patriarchy or feminism or any of that stuff. Bethany now takes over. She says it's not a Christian movie, and it's not trying to be a Christian movie, so don't expect it to have Christian values. She calls this podcast a cultural conversation and says the topic is exploding. So they want to be part of that conversation. Dave says he isn't sure he wants to be, but she talks over him. Bethany liked the outfits and the production design and thought the actors were good. She liked Ken. He was her favorite and brought the humor and comedy she wanted. She also admires the marketing that preceded the movie and accompanied its release. She kind of goes on and on about the marketing. Dave enjoyed the self-aware, intellectual aspect, his words, but he didn't find it convincingly sincere. He says that if you wanted a simple, sincere fairy tale, Disney princess type of story, it wasn't trying to be that. Bethany then interrupts with a loud, "Boo, Barbie, boo." Dave uses the word existential and says he appreciated the way the story moved in a self-discovery direction, and he thought it was interesting that the movie explored the tropes and stereotypes about patriarchy, flipping it on its head and flipping it back. He liked that exploration. Also, he liked the musical numbers. Bethany decides it's her turn and tries to make a point about Ken being the best part, and Ken stealing the show, which basically boils down to she thinks Ken was hilarious and Barbie was too serious, and Ken never took himself too seriously, which Barbie and all the women did. Dave doesn't really agree with Bethany and starts talking about Ken's story arc. He says that Ken gets his sense of self from the gaze of Barbie, until Ken flips it and tries to put himself at the top. Dave says both ends of the spectrum, oppressed and oppressor, are extreme in different ways, and he likes seeing that explored. He liked seeing Ken find his own identity aside from seeking the attention of Barbie. Now, he moves on to talking about Barbie's sense of self. Barbie's sense of self is based on a certain set of expectations she's supposed to perform, but Dave says the film tries to show that you're more than your role. You're more than your reflected sense of self. At the end of the movie, he thinks one of the best things was that Barbie still isn't sure who she is. He says power, like Ken's misguided attempts at patriarchy, isn't self. Barbie's creator isn't going to tell her who to be. She has to reflect and decide for herself. Dave loves this shit. We're 25 minutes in, and Dave has done nearly all the talking, and still hasn't said anything you expect to be hearing based on the podcast title. He likes the themes of realizing you have a reflected sense of self that's based on your performance and how others react to that performance. He says, as a Christian, I wouldn't stop there, but I'm not getting the impression at all that he came on this podcast to rag on the movie, which Bethany obviously did, and which Bethany is not getting the chance to do thus far, because without Kristen driving the conversation, she's kind of lost in space. Now, though, it's Bethany's turn again. Bethany thinks the Barbie movie ends with the very popular belief that she is enough. To Bethany, it's really sad the movie is telling girls that they are enough. What is that rooted in? She asks indignantly, referencing Allie B. Stuckey's book. She starts sputtering like a robot with this line about "you are enough" being a bad belief to have. She's trying to steer the topic back to whether or not the movie was bashing men. Dave says Barbie Land's men were not meant to be deeply developed characters, but the men playing the characters did such a great job that it's not bashing men, because the men in the movie weren't real men. He thinks the message overall was positive, because the whole movie is pretty meta. Bethany does not agree, but doesn't even know what she's disagreeing with. She says all the male characters were hilarious and delivered much needed humor, while the female characters were all so serious and took themselves so seriously. These are feminist talking points, she says. They have to be told how unhappy they are. Dave says, in real life, people sometimes do experience cognitive dissonance and then wake up and see clearly. But he does think the movie was trying to sort of show how woke it was by making fun of the Will Ferrell character, who claims to be woke but isn't. Bethany thought the movie was going to be jokey, and so she got mad when so many of the main characters were so bitter and angry, and the movie told her things that were so serious. Because, and I quote, "Why does everything have to be so 2020? Like 2023? I mean, so 2020. Like talking points from right now. It's just ridiculous and over the top," she says. She seems to think that the views expressed through the movie are just a fad and will be outdated in a few years. She sounds very irritated, as she says she was falling asleep, and the movie was boring. It made her feel like the movie was telling her, if you don't think this way, you're stuck under old ways of thinking. And she was irritated that there was no romance between Barbie and Ken, because so many women enjoy romance, and not everyone wants to be an individual, so it's ridiculous. Dave says the movie never said, all men are like this, and they both agree that the male characters in the movie were doofuses, and he's fine with it. He then starts talking about how, actually, in real life, women are outperforming men in a number of areas, and some men really are having a crisis of identity. He acknowledges the existence of men's groups and movements who just automatically take the opposite position of anything feminism says, both in the nice guy way, he says, as well as the alpha wannabe jerk version. Bethany has no fucking idea what her husband is talking about, so immediately shifts defensively back to her previous Girl-Defined interview with someone named Nancy Piercy and the toxic war on men, and how women are all saying masculinity is the problem. Basically, she likes it better when men are praised and affirmed, and when women pretend they aren't experiencing what they're experiencing. Wrapping up, Bethany says she liked the humorous parts of the movie, but found the movie boring, and it was just so serious, you guys. Why was Barbie crying? Dave says, because she was having an existential crisis. But Bethany keeps rapidly babbling about how nothing can just be fun anymore, and then she mocks female oppression. Snidely says the movie cashed in on this fake oppression, and says it's like 2020 again. Then goes full steam ahead about some point she's trying to make about how nobody wants to be ordinary Barbie. But can't we just be ordinary Barbie? And I guess she's really mad at actresses for not being ordinary? I don't even know. She thinks it's a very bad message to tell all those young girls. Whatever she thinks the message is, which I don't know. It ends with Bethany giving the movie a generous rating of 3 for entertainment and a -0 for whether she'd recommend it. Dave laughs and says he's already given a rating with his words. I don't know how these two can live in the same house. I really don't. This bizarre podcast episode was followed up with a video on August 3rd, titled, "Does My Husband Like the Man-Bashing Barbie Movie?" with community members noticing how strange their body language and facial expressions are throughout it. The next week, on August 12th, the Girl-Defined Instagram posted this image. A wife should pray for her husband to be absolutely miserable in his sin. With the caption, "Why? So that he will be so broken and desperate that he will reach out to the only true source of hope and redemption, Jesus Christ." That is insane. How can you hope for someone's bad time to get even worse, just so some other guy can help them? The week after this, Girl-Defined posted another image saying, "To the wife who has been betrayed, God cares about you more than your marriage. Yes, marriage is wonderful and God created it for a unique and glorious purpose, but you were created in his very image. You will spend eternity with him, and your marriage won't. You did not fail your husband. Your husband's sin has nothing to do with your performance as a wife. It has everything to do with his heart and his brokenness. You did not fail God. The point of living is not to have a perfect marriage. It's to glorify God. Of course, a godly marriage honors God, but it takes two people working towards that goal to accomplish it. You are loved enough to die for. God loves you deeper and greater than anyone on this earth. He loved you enough to lay down his life for you. Never believe that you are unlovable or unworthy of care. There's true peace and happiness to be found in Christ. No marriage, relationship, or husband was ever meant to satisfy you completely. Only Jesus can do that. Run to him for true and lasting peace. If you need more encouragement in this area, go listen to our podcast episode with Jonathan Doherty, head of Be Broken Ministries. I love how every post from Bethany is half venting, half selling something. Now, jumping forward a few months, on November 10th, Bethany shared this post on her story, which has the text, "My husband just invested into several marriage courses for us. I'm so thankful our marriage is such a priority to him. I'll share about the courses after we work through them." This man is fighting for dear life. Regardless, as of December 20th, Bethany is still oversharing about her relationship with Dave. A little about myself. Age 35. Height 6'1". Shoe white sneaker. Sign, no clue. Children, 2 kiddos. Tattoo, none. Phobias, cockroaches. Favorite food, slow-cooked pot roast. Favorite color, variety of pinks. Favorite drink, hot chocolate. Animals, my husband in the bedroom. Okay, dude, don't you have family or church friends that follow you? That's freak behavior, Bethany. Cut it out. But let's move on, because now we're going to roll up our sleeves and get into the recent controversy surrounding Girl-Defined's $30,000 end-of-year donation goal, which began on December 4th when Girl-Defined posted this on Instagram, along with a caption that says, "There's a battle raging for the hearts and minds of the next generation, and we're committed to engaging in this fight. We need your prayers and support to continue standing on the front lines. Would you consider giving a year-end donation to help us continue the work of Girl-Defined Ministries in 2024. End-of-year financial need, $30,000. Give your tax-deductible gift by visiting our website at www.girldefined.com/donate. Thank you and Merry Christmas. Kristen Clark and Bethany Beal." This reads like a Nancy Pelosi email. If you visit the donation website, it'll take you to a page where the default recommendations are $50, $100, or $300. Of course, with the option to turn that baby into a monthly subscription. People from the community weren't too thrilled to see this fundraiser go up, and they posted shortly after, saying it wouldn't be Christmas without Girl Defined begging for $30,000. They usually do this at the end of the month or year to create a sense of urgency, but are starting early with a goal of $1,000 per day. I can't wait to see these posts interlaced with the mounds of Xmas presents and Bethany boasting about her earnings from sex scams. The next day, Girl Defined uploaded this post on Instagram in an attempt to justify their $30,000 asking price. The team that keeps this ministry going. Every single post, package, email, DM, design, and all the other behind the scenes is because of these ladies. We appreciate these women so much and could not keep this ministry operating without them. However, what they failed to mention is that two of these girls are Bethany and Kristen's sisters. So Girl Defined is just hoping strangers will fund their family to work on their YouTube channel instead of just paying the check themselves. On December 14th, they posted a progress update, sharing that they've raised $4,378 so far. People on Reddit commented on this, saying, "Is it weird how they asked for exactly $30,000 every year?" Yeah, especially because they used to do their dumb conference, or say they were going to use it for a new website. And now they just ask for the same amount just for fighting feminism, or some other vague nonsense. The money is literally for nothing in particular, except for them to post on Instagram. On December 19th, another progress update was posted, with the caption saying, "We personally see every single donation that comes in, and we thank God for your partnership. As a nonprofit ministry, we are largely supported by wonderful people like you. Our year-end need is $30,000. Whether you can give $5, $50, $500, or $5,000, every gift helps." A fan commented asking, "Could you explain what $30,000 is being used for?" With Girl Defined replying, "To keep our ministry running." Someone else says, "That's vague. Could you be more specific?" And they replied, "It goes towards the cost of hosting a website, our merchandise and shipping materials, paying our employees, and recording equipment, and content creation." With another person later adding, "But your nonprofit financial disclosure documents state that both you and your sister make over $40,000 a year take home. She actually makes more money than you do from Girl Defined." Then she brags on her own socials that she makes over six figures regularly. So she's making an estimated $60,000 elsewhere. Why do we need to donate when you're already making so much money individually? Why shouldn't we donate to an actual charity that does actual good deeds? What kind of message is this sending young women about their charitable financial responsibility? This is not Christ-like charity. This leaves a very bad taste in my mouth. In another Instagram comment exchange, Girl Defined writes, "Teens are welcome. The focus of our content is for adult women though, not for teens." With someone replying, "That's interesting because your 501c3 tax status defines your org as youth development. Does youth mean 25 plus? Your website says, since launching Girl Defined Ministries in 2014, our goal has always been the same, to help modern girls understand and live out God's timeless truth for womanhood. In a day and age when girls and women receive so many conflicting messages, you make a distinction between girls and women here. I'm assuming women is 25 plus? Since the definition of womanhood is so important to you, don't you think it's confusing that you're filed with the government as serving youth and the word girl is in your name, but now suddenly you're focused on women 25 plus? Maybe time for a rebrand. Or just admit you contradict yourselves regularly. They better hope the IRS doesn't look into whatever they got going on over there, because tax-free YouTube revenue is insane. Things only started looking worse for this fundraiser after Bethany accidentally posted this caption. Also, I have an urgent update to share. Girl Defined has a year-end goal of raising $30,000 by December 31st, and we're currently at $5,279. We only have 9 days to reach our goal, and we really need the sisterhood's help. Bethany, would you consider making a donation right now of $10, $50, $200, or $1,000 or more to help us continue the work of Girl Defined in 2024? We see every donation that comes in, and we praise God for your partnership. Real hard work it must be over there. Copy and pasting your plea for $30,000 instead of just making watchable content to fund your channel. Influencers these days, always asking for handouts. A community member on Reddit noticed Girl Defined was deleting old comments, so they shared one of the girl's last attempts at explaining where the money is going. What are the donations supporting exactly? Hey, we have 5 employees here at Girl Defined, plus much online overhead and shop overhead. Every single donation goes directly back into supporting those needs. This post also includes Girl Defined's financial reports from 2018 to 2021, showing that despite them claiming the money is supporting 5 employees, the company actually only lists 3, which includes Bethany, Kristen, and Kristen's husband, Zach, who they aren't even paying. The user that shared this post questions their ability to take on 3 more employees when they're making less money than ever. In another post from December 23rd, a community member and worker at a Christian nonprofit shares their perspective on the whole situation. It's titled, "The Girl Defined Dumpster Fire from a Christian Nonprofit Perspective." And they say, "My first comment is about the maligned end-of-year giving that Girl Defined does, or tries to. A lot of people made comments that sum up as, why are they asking for so much money? They are really bad at managing their finances. Obviously, they are terrible at being a nonprofit, but this is not uncommon at all. As a matter of fact, every small camp sends out letters, emails, Facebook posts about end-of-year giving. Christmas is the time of giving, and it so happens to coincide with the time where lots of wealthy people check and see how much more they can give before hitting their ceiling when it comes to a tax deduction. In fact, we budget our end-of-year pledge. Even though we don't really know what people will give, we can estimate pretty accurately. For reference, we ask our donors for 2% of our annual budget. It's generally considered a good thing to have a small budget deficit at the end of the year. It's hard to ask people for money when you've made your budget. Telling people, hey, we almost made our budget, and if you can give a little bit, we'll make it, gets more engagement than, we made enough money, but we can always use more. Girl Defined asked for $30,000. This is a hefty sum of money if you take their overall budget in consideration. With a 2021 revenue of just under $190,000, this would amount to 15% of their budget. That is quite a huge chunk. Even with a very generous guess of what their budget for 2023 is, based on growth from 2019 to 2021, it's still over 10%. That is way too much to ask as end-of-year giving. Anything from $4,000 to $5,000 would have been a realistic goal, and they almost raised that with very little effort. The next thing that stands out to me is the huge part of the budget their salaries take up. 70% of their money goes to salaries. That's way too much. For reference, we're sitting around 30% for 4 full-time and 1 part-time employee. We also work a lot more than 30 hours a week Girl Defined puts in, which we all know is not true. Especially during summer camp, 80 to 90 hour weeks are normal. Of course, this gets compensated in the off season. I have a really chill work schedule for the rest of the year, especially at the end of fall and winter. The last thing I want to mention is that during your end of year giving push, you need to tell people 1, what you accomplished this year, 2, what you're hoping to accomplish next year, and 3, how the people that donate help you do that. It's not that complicated. It's baffling to me that the president and vice president couldn't tell you what they're doing, what they spent their money on, and why they need support. It makes no sense. But that wraps up the drama surrounding Girl Defined's $30,000 end-of-year donation goal. And we can get to the funniest part of the story, because along with the post about the $30,000 fundraiser came the Girl Defined Instagram bot, who started auto-replying to angry fans around December 22nd. Why are you begging for money when your family brags about bringing in 6 figures and more than $10,000 a month? Maybe your whole family should downgrade from your nice houses and expensive clothing and things and donate the money yourselves instead of asking people who clearly aren't making the kind of money your family claims to make. Pretty sure there's a lot in the Bible that refers to your family having tons of money, bragging about it, yet not donating it. From your own sister's posts, that goal should be a drop in the bucket since y'all make $10,000 a month. Sent you a DM. Not interested in looking at DMs from you. Why ask people for money when half of this account claims she's making a fortune on her own? Surely she could donate some. Check your DMs. A link to your online shop. Thanks, but no thanks. And throughout the next week, more and more unfortunate interactions with the Instagram bot were recorded. Hi, came here because I heard if you use keywords in a comment like donate or shop or charities, then suddenly a magic bot appears saying something like, check your DMs, without ever having read the context of the comment. Doesn't this violate Insta's TOS? Let's see if I can summon the bot. Hope you find this helpful. Check your DMs. Oof. Can't Bethany make Girl Defined $10K a month like she promotes in her own courses? Or could she at least donate some of her own passive income? Sent you a DM? Donate to Planned Parenthood. Check your DMs for the link. One reply and I'll donate to an organization supporting people escaping religious abuse. Hey friend, we hope this resource is helpful. Check your DMs. Hi DonateBot. What medical care should I seek after overdosing on raw milk? Check your DMs for the link. DonateBot is a Class A grifter, lol. Heart, sent you a DM. How do I donate to my local satanic temple? Sent you a DM. Hey, DonateBot, send nudes. Sent you a DM. I was hoping you could tell me now how I can formally dedicate my next abortion to Girl Defined. I'd love to donate to the Girl Defined Abortion Fund to help out other young women like myself who love to honor the Lord in emptying our wombs. Check your DMs for the link. How much would I have to donate so Bethany can stop talking about her sex life? Sent you a DM. But the fun didn't last forever, because on December 27th, users noticed the Instagram comment bot disappeared, and all comments on new Girl Defined posts have been turned off. But not without some friendly casualties, because at least one well-meaning fan was blocked by Girl Defined during the crossfire. A post went up on Reddit shortly after this asking, will Bethany end up in Instagram jail over usage of bots? In the replies, someone notes, she's already in Instagram jail. She can't send DMs. Another user asks, how did that happen? And they reply, she was having her bots mass spam everyone promoting her sex course. It turns out you aren't allowed to promote that kind of content to everyone, regardless of their age. With another user adding, and was posting a ton of photos of her children, overlaid with sexually inappropriate captions. Instagram doesn't care about much, but they do draw a line at using kids to promote sex courses. However, take this and any other Reddit evidence with a grain of salt, because ultimately, it's just hearsay. But now we're up to speed with just about everything from the past year regarding Girl Defined, and how Kristen and Bethany's new focus on selling sex courses has led to relationship oversharing, a $30,000 fundraising goal, and tons of hilarious interactions with the Girl Defined Instagram bot. And now that you have pretty much all the details about this situation, what do you think about everything? How do you feel about the way Girl Defined, and mostly Bethany, promotes their Christian sex course? Do you think Bethany is really making six figures by selling courses? And what do you think about the $30,000 fundraising goal for their nonprofit? Let me know all of that and anything I missed down in the comments. If you want to stay caught up with even more internet drama and news, please consider subscribing. And check out any of my recent videos. Thank you so much for making it all the way to the end. I really hope you have a wonderful 2024, and I'll see you in the next one.
Yeah, I like to do whatever I want. I don't know who is the follow the run. I don't like toppings on the bun of the set, not mine. Please use sunscreen if you got